What's going on, guys? We are back. Smacktalk live, episode number 2. We're going to keep on bringing this to you week by week. Even though we're down in the off season right now, Power Slap number 7 isn't coming up until April 12th. But guess what? The strikers keep on giving us a ton of nuggets. We're getting insights to what's going on. And there's a lot of excitement brewing. There's a lot of animosity. The trash talk is real. It's happening. We're starting to see that some of the calls went out for Match on Power Slap number 7. We're seeing some of the guys start to banter back and forth. The guys that are in the ranking, the guys that aren't in the ranking, guys that are trying to get themselves fights. They are letting us know what they think. Ding, overall, have you seen this much excitement and this much commotion this far out from an event?
Look, man, I think this is always the most exciting time. I think we're seeing it a little bit earlier than we normally do, but it's when the fans start to guess kind of what the next matchups will be based on kind of the events that unfolded, the event before. There's a lot of what's interesting is that I think strikers have announced themselves a little bit more sort of definitively than they have in the past. And so it kind of, it sort of gets rid of some of that mystique, but in the same breath, it also adds a layer of excitement because now you don't know the other half of each match. So I'm pretty pumped up, man. I'm seeing some of these names we'll talk about here in a minute. But we didn't get to talk about this last week because this news broke after we did our show. But Azael AJ, AJ actually broke that news. So that means that AJ's expected to drive down the middleweight. Pretty, I guess, shocking, exciting. I mean, I think there was probably a lot of emotions for all the fans when they heard that one.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. AJ dropping down 185 against Azael, which can clearly be seen as a number 1 contender match. Obviously, Static with the resume that he has, being a title holder at light heavy. We know things haven't gone his way as of late, but dropping down a weight class, just proving, what he's done in the past is going to give him that opportunity against El Perro. Azael Rodriguez probably right now makes a lot of sense. You can't give him John Davis right away at that 185. So let him prove himself, get some of that fresh blood in there, 185, who's really looking and starving for that true number 1 contender to kind of come in, rise up, challenge John for that belt. We've kind of talked about that 185 needing something to be able to push it forward. So, we'll see how all of this transpires. It was great to be able to see that we've got this. Could even be a co-main event at this point. I mean, we're not particularly sure. I know we talked last episode about who we thought might be, a main or co-main event on the card. This one here, for the purist, the people that watch Slap News can understand the magnitude of what this could actually be for the sport in general. And, could be exciting. I think you're going to have a war of attrition here. We know that both these guys have chins, and it's going to be exciting to see 185. How do we think that weight cut's going to go for Static? I mean, do you think it's going to be easy for him? Do we not? I know he's not that tall, structurally, but we do know that he's quite dense. He's got a real wide neck, thick neck to him, built wide. How do we think it's going to be getting down to 185 for Static?
I mean, I think that there's a couple of factors that we want to acknowledge. Number one, the cut from light heavyweight to middleweight is always the biggest. It's 20 pounds. In addition to that, Static, he kind of started his career in Slap as the guy who didn't train. And so, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but my assumption would be he doesn't have a ton of experience cutting weight. So to add that extra 20 pounds onto that cut, I'm wondering if we're going to see a little bit of a lifestyle change here to make that more manageable for him, or if Static's actually going to end up just trying to, water cut all of that, which, would be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, we've seen water cuts not go that smoothly overall for a lot of these guys. So hopefully it's not that. We know there's still a bit of time, obviously, before it comes. So hopefully he's putting in the work every single day. In the beginning, he wasn't training that hard. He was one of those guys that talked about coming off the couch. And, and I believe it in the beginning that he definitely did, come off the couch. Now we know that he's training. We know he's been, training more than he's let on. I'm sure he's working, putting in the time. I know he wants to get back there, up at the top. He's had that taste. He knows what it's like to hold the belt. He knows what it's like to get those paychecks, to get the bonuses, to get the win bonus down. So I'm sure he's highly motivated to get back front and center. They kind of step back from him a little bit in recent times. As we haven't heard much of Static. We don't hear, Power Slap promoting him in their marketing and their advertising. So now this could be that opportunity for him to propel himself back up to be one of those, main headliners, to get that publicity again and really push his stock upwards and forward. And I mean, when you look at the middleweight division, for lack of a better term, hasn't had a ton of excitement in recent times. So maybe this is what we need to try to get some more excitement back into it. Even season 3, things didn't quite go how we thought it was. We didn't get a clear, definitive person, between Garrett Grimes, Eddie Spaghetti, Brandon Bordeaux. We didn't get that clear, away winner who could move up and be the number 1 contender. So obviously they've had to go back to the drawing board, relook at how and who they could incorporate into that middleweight division to kind of make it more exciting, interesting for them to go up and, defend their belt against John Davis. Looks like right now, John Davis, from what we've seen, is not going to be, on that Power Slap number 7 card. So, it's going to be a future card for him. And this could be an event which is seemingly kind of coming together as one of those contender cards, very similar to the August card was, last year. I believe it was Power Slap number 4, where they had a bunch of these, matches kind of line up number 1 contender to come back for the next event to be a monster event where we'll have 3-4 title fights. Would you agree, Ding?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think, like you said, Azael and Wesley have kind of been the guys at middleweight. And what's interesting about this is that, one simple move and a team player, if you will, in somebody that's willing to drop down that much weight for their first time really shook things up in a way that I don't think anybody expected. So hats off to AJ for making that commitment. We don't, as much as we love the Azaels and the Wesleys, and they're doing great against other competition. Azael's had 2 chances against John. Unfortunately, up until this point, he hasn't been able to get it done. And Wesley, he's had 1 chance. I don't know that we want to see that fight again. I think that this is a nice change of pace for everybody, and I think for the fan base.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely agree with that. It hasn't been, for a lack of other people trying. I mean, we're seeing the guys, getting antsy. We had our James Stonier, who we just interviewed. If you haven't checked it out, on YouTube here, scroll down, probably the first video on our feed. We did an exclusive interview with James Stonier. Really good interview to hear from him. We haven't seen him in a little bit. He's had his ups and downs in Power Slap. And, he's chomping at the bit to be able to get back. He took some shots at a couple of the other guys. I'm not sure if any of those fighters are in here right now, but, he let it be known overall that some of these guys he definitely wants a piece of. And so we'll see, calling out the likes of, Corey Corbin, Amir Nuruddin, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's just one instance, of guys trying to vie. We even see Jimmy Jumps, my man. We haven't heard from him in a while, but, James Santa Maria, wanting to push forward at 155. We know back in September, he had an opportunity to get into 155. Unfortunately, he had a family tragedy that prevented him from getting on that card and accepting that fight. But we see him calling out the likes of Robert Trujillo. He wants to get in the fire and go with the guys at the top of the top. Robert Trujillo, I know you just before we went live, I know you posted it, but Robert did in his story confirm that he will be back at Power Slap number 12. We don't know specifically who he's fighting yet, but it'll be great to see that knockout artist, Power Slap number 7, not 12, but see him back on April 12th to be able to continue, his journey and see what they have for Robert. Because, at this point, what do you do with a guy like Robert Trujillo? You don't have a true weight class for him. Seemingly there hasn't been a lot of, talent coming in up against him that seemed to be able to push him. But what do you do with a guy like that?
Yeah, I think personally you kickstart that division. I think that you let Robert Trujillo be your trailblazer at 55. I think moving him up to 70, kind of either he goes up there and he loses, and then you lose all that talent, all that momentum, or I think the other option is that he stays at 55 and you keep kind of having this very unusual lull, lackluster competition pool, if you will. Not to say that anyone that he's faced isn't, talented or qualified, but ultimately it's very unclear, right, what his pathway will be, if there's ever going to be a belt, what the future of the lightweight division is. So I think it just takes a little bit away from how good this guy really is.
I completely agree with you. Super exciting. Like you said, that Robert there, we know he's really good friends with Emmanuel Muniz. So it doesn't seem like that's going to happen at 170 or even at a catch weight for this particular time. Those two guys don't seemingly want to go up against each other. Maybe they'll be, forced to, You know, at this point, doesn't look like it's gonna happen. So I guess they're gonna have to try to see where at 155 can they start to create, you know, that opportunity for these guys to be able to continue to push forward. You know, it's not all that much different than, you know, the female categories. Like if you look at it, we've had Sheena Bathory compete in every single slap fight in the women's division that we've seen so far. You know, she seemingly has some other interest right now. We see her doing some, you know, pro wrestling stuff. She seems to be taking a step back from the content that she's putting out as it relates to slap fighting. And so we'll see. I mean, looking like Sheena's going to be taking, I think, a little bit of time off, and probably rightfully so. You know, the first time that she's ever been knocked out, probably not a bad idea if she sits out this next card. And, you know, maybe we'll see a new crop of girls. We'll see a match that doesn't include Sheena. Obviously, we know Jackie didn't get hit. So I would seemingly think, unless her hand, you know, something happened to her hand, which I don't believe so. She didn't allude to that in the post-fight interview that we did with her. So she should be ready to go for a future event. And, you know, it's exciting because we know that there's a ton of talent out there for the women, you know, and we talked about before Sheena potentially being a deterrent for some of these women wanting to get into the category because of how dominant she's been. And now with her potentially taking a step backwards, not just speculation on us. I mean, I have no backing to, you know, to say that. It just feels right that she'll take a step back, that they'll be able to get two other women to be able to come into the division, square off, and we'll see that match. And we'll see the evolution of it, you know, and I think Jackie, we know, wants to come back for it. So it would be great to kind of see that evolve, and we'll see where these categories, you know, end up going, if they end up cementing them as official, you know, classes or categories, you know, overall thing. But,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, Sheena's sort of in a weird spot. There's no rankings for that. Same thing for, you know, Rob, right? There's no pound for pound rankings in Power Slap. There's also no you know, pound for pound rank, or I'm sorry, there's no weight rankings for 55 on either side. Sheena fought at 55. She fought at 45. I mean, it's all very blurry. I think that maybe there's a little bit of market research that's going on here. You know, but nonetheless, I just want to make sure that when we look at the athletes, that nothing's being taken away from the people who are just kind of in this very unusual, like undefined space, like the Robert Trujillos, like the Sheena Bathory's, you know, like maybe the Jackie Catalines. I mean, she made herself a star. I saw recently she passed 10K followers on Instagram, and I think when this whole thing all started, she was at something in the 3,000. So this has been massive for her. She's 3x her following, and I'm sure that will help sort of kickstart her and motivate her to want to come back and do this again. Because should, you know, you take all the controversy away, who's to say what could happen to her career or her you know, popularity then? Look at
totally.
Sheena. Sheena's at over 100,000 followers easily. I think she's past 160,000.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Let's get into some of the comments. I know we haven't touched them yet, but you know, we've got Drew talk about 185, thinks AJ can you know, make it in. But Logan Greenhall, you know, former still, I guess, heavyweight you know, competitor, thinks that AJ can also make it. So maybe there's some inside information. Those strikers might be you know, talking back and forth. Let's see what else we got. Got 155ers off the street if you need one. Drew Bishop. There we go. Potentially, Drew Bishop wants to throw his hand in. Got a couple other guys. We'll see, man. I mean, fill out the form on Power Slap. I mean, they're always looking for guys coming in. Head over to the website. On the right-hand side, there's casting. Fill out the form. You never know. I know they're working hard, Eric and Frank, to continue to bring in the best talent that they possibly can. So you never know. But yeah, I mean, great to see.
We've also got Azael in here.
Do we? Awesome.
Yeah. He's just under he's under the name in Spanish La Casa del Perro. So
Okay.
yeah, he's saying AJ's opening his mouth already. He needs him to not back out because of his weight. So you know, I think Azael's got a great point. I think he's planting the seed there. That is something that you got to keep an eye on. Like I said, it's a big weight cut. It's the biggest out of any of the divisions. You know, between one another, aside from the top of heavyweight to light heavyweight, but usually it's very normal for heavyweights to fall between that 215 to 265. So it's usually not, you know, drastic, but you know, besides that, for those of you who don't know, and we'll talk about this probably in next week's episode, we'll get some footage for you guys. But the rivalry between Isaiah and AJ actually started actually literally not more than a year ago, but we all knew it and we learned about it in the world about a year ago on Road to His Title Season 1. If you guys will remember, Isaiah and AJ had some words over the mattress For those of you who didn't see that, no worries. We'll
Mhm.
bring it to you guys. That'll be our action item for you next week. We'll probably start the show, talk about that a little bit, show you some of the footage that Power Slap actually had them shoot some things where they
Mhm.
talked about that rivalry and the prospect of Azael made it clear he had no interest in going up to 205, but if AJ came down, he'd love to fight him at 85. He said it was a lot more likely he'd move down than move
Mhm.
up. So I mean, this all started such a long time ago. I don't think anybody ever really caught any steam because one, these guys are in two separate divisions, kind of fortifying their own path. AJ
Mhm.
obviously was the champion. He lost the championship. Azael's been a
Mhm.
championship contender twice already. Very close matchup. Comparatively, the
Mhm.
second time he's mowed down everybody else who's competed, and so I think ultimately this is the perfect time for these guys to meet.
Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah.
lot of history where
I
we've
agree.
not really seen that so much before. I mean, maybe KO, Chris, and Manny, but I think
Mhm.
that adds an additional layer to it. That's very fun. And like Isaiah was saying, I mean, AJ is definitely not staying quiet.
Yeah. 100%. I definitely agree with you. You guys see me put my hand over the camera. I'm trying to correct the camera to get this back in focus, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to pull myself off real quick and try to reset it, but I'm going to bring in for you, Dig, your most favorite human, hairy hamster, to be able to talk. Where you been, buddy? You haven't been for a while.
What's going on, boys? What's
Oh
going on,
shit,
chat?
he's
I just
alive,
tapped in with
bro.
the chat. What's going on, Ding? How we doing, baby?
Bro, what's going on, my brother? I thought you were hiding somewhere with Ryan Garcia the last few weeks. Haven't seen
Nah,
you.
nah. Technical difficulties. The last couple of weeks, I've been going back and forth. I live on an island, so if you need anything, you got to get off the island and go to the mainland and get it done. So I just been busy, but man, you guys probably already talked about it, but we've been working, my boy. This award show, March 11th.
No, we didn't. We did not talk about it actually. So
You didn't?
please
Okay,
do
okay,
tell, man.
okay.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah. Well, man, we've just been working. I think something like over 10,000 votes came in. Like, this was the outpouring of the fans was just amazing for this. Like, this shows that Power Slap has that fan base that can sustain it and keep it going through 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, man. I think just seeing how this all unfolded behind the scenes, I think we learned a lot as far as
Mhm,
kind of how much of the engagement comes from, kind of the people that support an individual striker,
mhm.
and also just how much this actually means for everybody for us to be able to do,
Yeah.
and the reception that we've gotten, and the comments and the DMs and some of the conversations that have happened on the back end, to just how much logistics the three of us, and Ray obviously, who's kind of the behind the scenes guy that doesn't necessarily get so much love, excuse me, but he's as important as anyone. I mean, we like this is probably the most professional and well thought out thing that we've done, and
Mhm.
I've had a blast. I don't want to speak for you
Oh,
guys.
for
I know
sure.
the answer, but I've had a great time, honestly.
Yeah, man. And listen, we might have another award that we might have to give out because Nate Bernard in the chat just dropped that they want to see Jeeves versus Corey at Power Slap 7. So we might have a Slap News Award
Yeah.
next year.
Why don't we just, we're filming tomorrow. Why don't we just do it then? Fuck it, my man.
Nate might have started a storm here.
Let's go, my
We'll have
man.
to get Corey a championship belt for when he wins that fight.
Yeah.
For sure. Slap
I think
News belt fully
I've got
decked out.
far, buddy. I think we can make it happen.
So one of the cool things that we wanted to do this week, actually, in talking about kind of the history between Isaiah and AJ,
Mhm.
was sort of a blast from the past, right? For the people who maybe have come in to love the sport beyond kind of when it started, when this all began, this mad thing that we all love that we call Power Slap. And we were, looking back at some of the old footage. So we actually wanted to deliver for you guys some of
Mhm.
the footage that we saw from season one of Road to the Title early on, episode by episode, every week, and we sort of highlight some things for you and show you like this is what used to happen. This is kind of how things started because we think if you haven't seen it or if you don't remember, that these things will blow your mind, right? The way
Yeah.
that the
Mhm.
rules were different, how it's all evolved in just a year's time. Coming up here in just a week when we do our award show, that will be 1 year to the day of Power Slap One and the mayhem that has followed since. So Corey, do you have the first clip, my brother, for us to talk
Yeah.
through?
Let's get into it, my man.
In the box
and he actually gets waved off here, right? He gets up. He had 30 seconds, and he gets waved off because he didn't get back in the box within the 30 seconds. That is not something that happens today at all. Not even close. You don't. First of all, you don't get 30 seconds. It used to be 30 seconds to get up and recover and get back in the box, and then it was 30 seconds to deliver a strike. So it was like like we don't even time you to give a strike back now. I mean, it was very, very particular. And even though he looked in that moment like he was recovered, because he wasn't in the box, that was it. It was over. And I think that was something that's so interesting because, like I said, nowadays you get 10 seconds and you don't need to be anywhere. You just need to be recovered. The ref might double check some footing or your posture, or, what your recovery looks like. They might look in your eyes. They might call the doctor, but they're not going to say, 30 seconds, you're not in the box, facing the right direction. The fight's over. So definitely a throwback, the way that we started. Pretty interesting.
No, man, this is the beautiful thing about Power Slap and what we've seen over the last year, and we're going to see it amongst some of these clips, is just how much better the sport has gotten. Not just for the fans, but for the athlete, for the entire process of it happening. It just gets better and better every time, and we've been here to witness that. And I'm glad we're doing these clips here because you get to show how far this sport's really come.
Totally. Let's keep rolling, my man.
Stop recovery time. You got 30 seconds there.
So watch Ryan as he leaves the track. Watch his feet.
Yeah.
See how he kind of like stutter steps a little bit, and he it almost looked like he lost his balance a little, and then he gets back. Like nobody, I don't want to say they didn't care, but they weren't watching for that stuff back then. Like it wasn't about that. It was about you get back to the box in 30 seconds, you're good.
Red, start the clock, please. You have
From the start the clock. Chris Coyote, dude, Wesley got slapped for like 7 seconds, and he's like, "Start the clock, please." Like, bro, the clock starts as soon as he gets hit, bro. Oh my goodness! But I mean, think about that, right? So now this guy's got 37 seconds to recover in theory, and then that means he can take another slap. I mean, just safety wise, it's just not. It wasn't very cautious, if you will. And so I just think, like Jeef said, and kind of what we all believe. While the 10 seconds, if you're a guy like a Nate Bernard, who I know was tuning in, right? Like that 10 seconds is your worst enemy because maybe if you had like 1-2 more seconds, you'd be all right, right? If you had 30 seconds, forget about it. Most people would get back up. Slap for Cash would have got back up. But I just think from a safety perspective, it's like, is it worth it? So I thought that was funny, 37-second Chris Coyote. That'll go down in history.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. I don't know if Slap for Cash is still getting up, but that was the point. But
we were going to address that.
But yeah, no, you know what? It's crazy. And it's actually funny, like even looking at Dwayne Crespo, looking at Ryan Phillips, Wesley Drain. Isn't it crazy how much these guys look different today? In a lot of ways, like actually, I think it's almost reverse aging. I don't know if getting slapped actually makes you look younger, but some of these guys seem to actually look better. Is that a byproduct of getting paychecks that you look better now? Or is it a byproduct of getting slapped? Because I mean, some of these guys definitely up their game in terms of style, fashion, their hair, looking younger, looking more trim. Maybe they're doing a little bit of micro needling. I don't know what they've been doing, but get more collagen activation in your face when you get slapped, starting to regenerate the skin. But like look at some of these guys like Dwayne Crespo looks like he probably put on about 30-40 pounds. I mean, of good weight. I mean, he was looking like a string bean back there at the trials. So I guess that's I guess that's kind of 2 years now, I guess, if you actually look
I was just gonna say, that would have been 2 years ago. That's footage from the exhibition.
Yeah. I hear you, man. Let's keep rolling.
Stop. It can be hit or miss. Foul.
Dude,
Blue. 1 point.
Bro,
there are a lot of rules in Power Slap.
He tried to stop him in the middle of the strike, Mark Smith, dude. That is legendary. Like, I'm upset that he doesn't get more credit for that. I mean, imagine trying to tell somebody who's like fully prepared to cock back and smack the living crap out of somebody else. Like, wait. I mean, dude,
The only
These
thing he
moments
could have
are
done
gold.
worse was grab his hand mid-strike. Like, no, wait.
Incredible, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, no, quite awesome. You see him actually pivot his foot as part of the windup and move it mid, which obviously which triggered that, but quite interesting. But
like he was
Darren Godfrey, a name that we didn't obviously, that was a clip from the first episode. We seen him partake there. He's kind of been in the dark circles, swirling around. He made it public. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say it, but it looks like Darren Godfrey's coming back. We know he's been in the wings. He's going to come back here real soon. I don't know how public it is, but at this point, we should expect to see him back. And it'll be exciting to see him restart that career 2 years later. So
for sure, man. We've kind of talked about it in the past where Power Slap keeps guys around. They will find a place for you as long as you're on the roster. They'll find a match. They'll find somewhere for you to be. So it's good to see them move guys around and show us some new guys or old new guys.
100%.
Look at his cheek.
One strike from John Kennedy, his cheek is like massive. Look at Wesley today. That doesn't happen to him.
From that clip, it's funny. It's like, who actually got struck? Looks like Wesley got hit, John Kennedy on the ground. It was like, was this some slap fight champion stuff where you like both hit each other at the same time? Like double knockout, swing on 3?
Yeah, I think I mean that's honestly, like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously not to the same severity, but that big, bubblegum cheek you got. I mean, you just don't see that stuff in Power Slap. Even Austin, right? I mean, the day after, totally different thing. But the day of, like, he's bloody, Dorian versus Dwayne. Dorian's face is all bloody and he looks like he's been to war, but your face doesn't swell up like that. We really don't see that. So it was interesting to see it that back then it did happen. Especially to a guy like Wesley, who today is, like I said, with the exception of the champion John Davis, I mean, the guy's unstoppable.
100%.
Oh, this is great. Check out what Sheena actually tries to help her. Like they're all just watching and she's about to somersault. She's like, whoa.
Get her.
Grab her. Yo, W's in the chat for Sheena, man. She's giving us some great highlights, bro.
She tried to help her. She's so sweet, man. She's like, whoa, you okay? Like, again, I mean, that just does not happen today, right? Like, they're not letting you walk away. They're not letting you move. I mean, there's the famous Dorian versus James Stonier when Stonier drops and Dorian's pours out emotion, and I think it was Forrest. Forrest comes and shoves Dorian as if he wants to fight, like because he's like, get away from the other athlete, like imagine if this was the situation back then. I mean, they would have come to blows in there because they just weren't worried about that stuff yet. And so just a year removed from well, it's literally 2 years, but it's 1 year from what we know, and there wasn't really any performances for there to be an evolution between March and November. So, I mean, I don't know how much you want to give that weight, that period of time where there wasn't anything going on. So how much can it really evolve per se? But nonetheless, just 2 years ago physically and literally it's almost like we're talking about a totally different sport.
Totally. Yeah, man. And I want to touch on that point that you brought up about that Dorian fight and Forrest having to pull him off. Man, the passion that these guys have on stage now has grown. Like from before, like it was almost like everyone was timid and meek. Now their personalities, and especially guys like Dorian who are putting up amazing fights every time he's there, he has that chip on his shoulder, and you're seeing it come out of guys. And this passion is great for the sport, seeing them out there throw everything on the line.
100%, I agree. But let's talk about Drew's comment here a little bit. I'll throw this one to you guys. So I don't understand why Dana doesn't just buy Slap Fight instead of trying to build a roster from scratch. And I'm going to piggyback off another comment that talks about John Kennedy is getting destroyed in Slap Fight. That's surprising. And then also this past week, Vertigo dropped from Slap Fight Championship with the headline match, also having Rob the One-Eyed Wolf, who we've seen obviously in the clip earlier, go over to Slap Fight Championship. So let's talk about it. Throw it out to either of you guys. At this particular point, why doesn't Dana buy Slap Fight?
Geez, I know Slap Fight's one of your favorite things to watch, so I'll let you answer.
Listen, it's one of those things, man. Like let's just look at it from a business perspective. You can buy your way in or you can build it. And if you build it, that extra energy that you're putting into something great, like we see the dividends that the effort that they're putting into Power Slap from scratch is paying already.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to buy into something that's doing X, or do you want to start something that could do Y? And it seems like Dana White, Power Slap, Hunter, Frank, everybody, they wanted to do Y. They saw what it was doing already. So either they didn't want to take it to the next level, or they just wanted to build it themselves. And I think, honestly, building it yourself, having that ownership and having that pride behind it is what's pushing this thing forward. Because we see the brass over there, man. They're insanely proud of what they do, whether it's the events, the promotion of the strikers, everything. They are insanely proud of it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where I stand on that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a couple of things. We've got Ryan, the King of King Phillips, in there in the comments, giving the opposing view. Hey, because JT didn't want to sell it. Very much could be the case as well. I mean, this is his baby. He started this. He's crafted it. You know, so there definitely could be that opportunity that maybe it wasn't on the table. You know, or you know what? Maybe there was an offer on the table, but they couldn't come to terms. Very, very common in business. People look at valuations very, very differently. You know, maybe they just weren't able to. We don't actually know that. You know, but it's definitely worth talking about, looking at. But in the same breath, I mean, when you have competition in the market, it's also good. You also set up different avenues. You know, if there wasn't an alternative like Slap Fight Championship, guys like, you know, Rob the Wolf, John Kennedy, you know, these guys wouldn't have the opportunity to continue on in their Slap Fight career post Power Slap. So, you know, it's giving people different opportunities to be able to actually kind of, you know, continue, reinvigorate their career, and, you know, still be able to do what they love to do. So giving those other athletes those opportunities. So, you know, I don't necessarily think there has to be one and only. I think there's a spot for everybody. I think there's different rule sets, you know, as we've seen even this past weekend on Slap Fight Championship, they re-brought up a 3-way match where they had 3 people slapping each other, you know, just different looks, different dynamics. And, you know, there's a spot for everybody through and through in this. So, yeah. Appreciate you, Drew, bringing forth that comment, you know, giving us something to talk about. But, I mean, the King of King Phillips, you know, still really hasn't been talked enough about, you know, him and Nate Bernard, obviously, who was tuned in earlier. What a matchup that was right from the get-go. I mean, the fire, Ryan crossing that the middle of the stage, getting into enemy territory, getting in
wild
right from the beginning. Wasn't going to have it. Wasn't Anthony Smith that took a dump, almost landed in Dana's face afterwards.
Yeah. Yo, listen, I'll say this about that match. I don't know if people picked up on the symbolism, and Ryan, feel free to correct me in the DMs, but when he came out, he did the Viking blood eagle. I don't know if many people understand what that means, but Ryan was literally out there to go for broke, man. Ryan went out there. He was not leaving. He was leaving there dead or alive is the way he went into it. And man, we've never seen anyone cross that table as they entered the mat, man. That was some shit to see. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. It was, you know, for whatever reason, you know, through and through, Ryan has continued to have to overcome adversity, you know, coming in as the underdog. And, you know, he's believed, you know, through and through, heart and soul, that he deserves to be there, deserves to have that opportunity. And I mean, look at the guy is showing time and time again, put himself now in a position to be that number one contender, and, you know, is defying all odds and coming back from a career-threatening injury to be able to prove that he is rising to the top and cementing his legacy and his name. It's hard when you're the King of Kings. You've got big shoes to fill, and he's been doing so lately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, talking about, you know, I think we touched on that earlier. You know, Trujillo, you know, confirmed that he'll be at 7. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Brendan Bordeaux put something out that was, I mean, maybe not type of. I mean, he did say I will be at Power Slap 7, but then he said, you know, I'll release the details when things are, you know, ironclad or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So. You know, those are 2 big names to look out for at Power Slap number 7. Of course, we talked about earlier in the show, and we broke last week, AJ versus Azael, the grudge match at middleweight. If you have not seen it, I'd encourage you to go check out Rumble. There's a video way back when. You have to scroll for a little bit, so forgive me. But Azael and AJ both are interviewed behind the scenes, coming off the heels of season 1, where they had their run-ins over the mattress and who was going to sleep there, and get out of here. That's my homie's mattress, and what are you going to do about it? And they had a little face-to-face confrontation. So all of this stuff, as we mentioned, really started back then. And who knows? Maybe we'll get a striker on one of these episodes who was there that can tell us a little bit about how they recollect what all happened kind of around that time. And maybe the camera did not, or if the camera did pick it up, they didn't show it. So definitely a very interesting matchup we have coming up in a month, man. Time has flown. I feel like Power Slap 6 was yesterday.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's been some interesting developments. As we know, like Power Slap puts on banger events, and if the rumblings are any notion as to what we have to expect in a month or so here, man, Power Slap 7 is gonna be another one for the books, man.
No, absolutely. We've got Drew in the comments there giving Ryan his props. Great to see that kind of come to fruition. We know right after in the press conference, Ryan actually kind of dropped a tidbit for everybody. I don't know how many people watched the post-fight press conference, but he was like, hey, me and the Bell would love to be coaches on season 3 of Road to the Title.
Yeah.
So, could be a foresight of things to come. Could be an opportunity there. The Bell coming back as a coach again. Ryan Phillips, has been a coach many, many times. Like, is there anybody else that is as qualified potentially as these two guys could be that could drum up the interest and the excitement? We know the Bell hasn't always been that exciting. We've seen what it did for the stock of, KO, Chris, and Manny, putting them in the spotlight, really having them get that camera time and elevate and rise their stock. Could this be something that if you were to put the Bell in that scenario for him to be able to talk in front of the camera, show his personality more, do we think he could rise up to the top and be able to actually have more excitement and stardom behind him? We know his Instagram probably hasn't grown since he started this entire thing. We know he's terrible at that. We know he's not good at YouTube, but we know he's got a slap and he's good at that. So Can we showcase that and bring it to the forefront? What do you guys think?
Man, he has come out of his shell since Power Slap 1 and our first interviews and this and that. I will say he is a lot more articulate and seems to be out of his shell. But at the end of the day, this promotion thing, guys, strikers, this is on you. We could do as much as we want. Power Slap can do as much as they want. But if you're not doing your part, that's what it really, really comes down to, is how much are you willing to put into your own promotion?
Totally. Drew, this one's for you, buddy. We're bringing the Mr. King of Kings in.
Hey.
How you doing?
Yo, what's up, guys?
I'm glad you put something on.
I know. I was just sitting here. I mean, you only see the top. You don't see the bottom. So I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah. Head over OnlyFans / King of Kings. You'll see the bottom.
King Dingaling 69, $5.99 a month. We got a 40% special going on right now. Use code Jeeves.
Yeah, code Jeeves. Let's do it.
Probably one of the best clips. If we do bloopers of the year, we got to get Jeeves doing the double Trump.
It's only when Ryan's on, he brings out the worst of me.
That was the best. It's still the best.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, dude, everything's great, man. Thanks, guys, for having me on. Public apology. I owe you guys a huge, sincere apology, man. I kind of lost my shit. Shit's been really crazy, so. I apologize to you guys. Slap News, greatest, the authority of slap fighting ever since the beginning. Even before the beginning, you guys were text messaging me as soon as I got out of the house. So, Slap News, love you guys, man.
Oh, good, man. Nothing needs to be said, brother. You know what, man? In love and war, we stick together, my man. We keep on trekking. We keep on making this shit happen. But
you too, Ding.
yeah, that's the one.
Yours to leave.
Pissing me off, Ding. I said that with a smile on my face too, dude. That shit was so funny.
Hey, bro.
Things become the problem.
Let's make it super awkward.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, all right. What's up, Ding?
Hey, so we it's all good, brother. We'll get past it, man. It's all good.
Hey, you're my boy, brother. Hey, you know what it is? It's brotherly love, man. That's all it is.
100%. 100%. And we appreciate that shout out on MMA holes, man. That was some cool shit. I was a little behind. I wasn't live, but I was a little behind, and it was super dope for you to be bridging out. Obviously you do a lot of media, so you're not obligated to name drop anyone. So we definitely appreciate it as a team. The honorable mention. I will say I was after you in Powerside Mobile. Unfortunately, they made a big update today that fucked up the game, and now I'm
Oh,
people who have like a trillion points and shit, and I'm not gonna win. So I think I'm gonna retire, man.
oh, well, there it is, hanging up the gloves.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna retire.
Hey, this was awesome. I'm glad we got to have this moment. This is gonna be a moment of slap news history where Ryan and Ding are friends now.
Fuck off.
We've always been friends.
You
bro.
and Ryan, you and Ryan have a weird relationship, bro. There's pictures
That's
of
my
it.
dog.
I love
But
you.
so I guess this is a perfect opportunity, Ryan. We were talking about Azael and AJ in the history. So you were in the house with them back in season 1. A lot of people may not know. What do you remember about their engagement? Obviously, we as viewers saw it over the mattress, the pissed on mattress and all this other stuff.
Yep.
But what do you remember about how Azael and AJ engaged, and what kind of engagement you saw maybe that the camera didn't either pick up or didn't make it to the show?
No, see, it was weird because when we were picking up Azael's mattress and putting it outside, and I was throwing his clothes in the pool and everything like that was just like a really tense time. But with the house, the footage that you saw was only the first 3 days of us being in the house. But throughout the house, Azael, without drinking, was a really, and we all know he's a really good guy. So most of the time he was a good guy, and AJ, he's a good guy too. So they both respected each other throughout the house for the most part. But as far as this fight's concerned, AJ's. I mean, I've been holding it a secret for a very long time because I talk to AJ every day. But it's gonna be a good one.
How's that weight cut coming for him? And we were discussing, is he going to be able to get down to that 185?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big one because he's up there still. So, but he's on his way. He's already started. I mean, he started a week ago, so he's got a nice month. I think he can do it.
Awesome.
He's very dedicated, man. We all know AJ, so we all know what he's about. But being a friend of his and talking to him, like I said, every day, like we kind of motivate each other, whether to push it harder or, go to the gym in the morning or whatever it is. He's a really, really motivated individual. Like he is a champion. It surprises me sometimes how hard he works, but he's working hard.
Yeah. Well, great to see. How do you think stylistically he's going to match up against Azael?
It's hard to say because with this sport, the more time that goes by, the more progression is made. And Azael, he's also a hard worker too. So, he got, not to say bad things about Azael, but he got knocked out by John Davis in one hit. Came back, fought John Davis again, and ate all 5 of those. So that's a huge improvement right there. And that was how long ago? 3 months ago now, right? Or 2 or 3 months ago. So, in that time frame, Azael is hungrier than a dog. He's the El Perro for a reason. So that amount of time and him, the way he is, always continuously working, that's probably going to show up. But then you got AJ, who's, I'm talking, he's working, man. I know he's working. So, hit the amount of work he has, but his frame too. Like that's another thing with AJ. He's got a big frame, and I think 185 is perfect for him. I mean, he's gonna it's gonna be a show, man. It's gonna be a fight.
Yeah. Let me put this on you, Ryan. So there's 2 guys going into this. So it's either going to be AJ or Azael that win this. How does it look against John? Because let's be real, it seems like AJ is going to make this drop for a title shot. Like that's his trajectory.
Yeah.
So how does that match look with John? Let's say it's AJ first.
So I would think that the AJ and John match, that would be a close one too, because AJ is a big guy, he's got a bigger frame, right? But you got to remember too is that John competed in heavyweight his first 2 matches in Power Slap, so he's not afraid of that. He's not afraid of any like the bigger guy, but it also depends on how much muscle and things of that sort. But John Davis, I literally just got off the phone with John Davis, and he's on his way to Muay Thai right now. So that dude's working.
Amazing.
Yeah, so he's been working, and it's just like I said, it's like the more time goes by, the more we're all progressing because you're gaining more strength, you're figuring out your movement, you're figuring out your defense, things of that sort. And each match, like I once again, my Nate match, I learned a lot from that match. There's a lot of I wouldn't say errors, but I made some errors, some crucial errors in that match too. So my shoes were like this thin. They were like so bad. They were running shoes, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" So you change that problem, and there's so many other things that you have to adjust. So we're all getting better and better, and it's just going to be awesome to see how these guys adjust to 185 with Azael, or I'm sorry, with AJ, and we're gonna see how Azael is a different beast coming up against John if he does, and same with AJ.
Yeah, man. Like with the Azael and John question, we've seen that twice. Now, to your point that you just made, Azael did definitely get better in between. He worked his way back up the ladder. Is there a 3? How does a 3 look? What do you think happens there?
It's hard. It's hard to say because it's crazy because we actually, like I said, me and John just talked, and we just talked about it, saying that he pretty much cleaned out. Like what's there left to give him? I know some people are moving down to 185 too. I mean, we already dropped it on Slap News, but Isaiah is going down. I mean, Isaiah Quinones is going to 185. So they're looking to get people for John. It looks like they're trying to get people to fight John. But now you got Wesley Drain is just dominating, man. He's fucking killing it, and that's another rematch. And then Azael, these guys are so good. That's like, how can you not offer them a title fight? But I think if Azael beats AJ, he should fight Wes, and they should
interesting.
Go from there. And then if AJ wins against that, maybe same thing. Maybe Wes right now is a gatekeeper for that title shot.
Sure. Well, going right off of that point about Wesley, I'm glad you brought him up, because let's stick to the middleweights for a second. I'll put this to all you guys. I want to know all your opinions on this. So Brandon Bordeaux, he's said something about he might be at 7. How do we like Wesley against Brandon? If Wesley is the gatekeeper for that division and Brandon's trying to make his mark, you want to go, Ryan? Go for it.
Oh, okay, I'll go. That I think that's a big experience thing right there. I think I love Brandon. I do. I really like Brandon. I think as far as season 2 is concerned, he's one of the bigger guys to come out, like a bigger name. So I think Brandon's a great match for anyone, and I don't want to get it twisted. But I think Wes, I'm never calling him Wesley again. I'm sorry, Wes. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Wes's experience will get the better. Wes is getting comfortable. You could see him. He's talk. Remember, he used to never like talk. When Charlie would give him the mic, he'd be like, "Yep, okay." Now he's like, now he's talking shit. He's up there grabbing his junk, the tongue out. He's acting out and getting more experience. And I think that's dangerous. I think Wes is super dangerous right now. And I think I think he's a great match for John in the long run. But yeah, Brandon or Eddie Spaghetti, we forget Eddie and Brandon tied each other. So, Eddie can't overlook Eddie because he didn't do too bad. And honestly, with his matches beforehand, he did really good. So Eddie's another name, that you have to throw out there. But it's a crazy, that 185 division right now is so up in the air because of our last event.
Yeah, I'll go, man. I think that's actually probably, I think that match is too early for Brandon to take place. I think Wes's experience and his chin has proven time and time again that I think he probably have a pretty substantial edge in that. The one guy that I think is unique, who I'd love to see again, down at number 7, Merlis Musikis. No one went up against Garrett Grimes, very tough guy. We know, obviously, he just competed at Power Slap number 6 up against Wes. But Merlis, I think, should get an opportunity. And I think a guy like him up against Brandon could really kind of solidify. I know it's going backwards for Brandon, but Merlis put up a great match, one of the best matches on season 2. I think if he could get another opportunity again, I think a guy like Brandon could be perfect. I think that would be much more close as a match. It would give us some, would give us a definitive answer as to where these season 2 guys are. Because I think right now, like when you really look at it, you got Garrett, you got Brandon, you got Eddie, you got Merlis. It's just kind of a mismatch kind of muck right now. We don't have that cream of the crop kind of rising up as being that guy to get in the top echelon. We're seeing, we're talking about West, we're talking about Azael, we're talking about Static. The season 1 guys coming down to kind of, get a hold at that footing at the very, very top of the division. And I think we need to see those guys from season 2 kind of really, go against each other and work themselves out. You got the Dairy Queen, the Burger King crown? Have you been frequenting the Whopper?
Oh no, sir. This is real, genuine. King of King's gold, baby. We're raising the bar. You know what I mean? More money's coming through. That win bonus money, baby. You know what I mean? Oh yeah.
Let's go. Fight of the night type shit.
Know it, baby.
And you got a performance bonus. Let's not forget that.
That's right, Ding. That's why you're my boy, Ding. That's right.
Yeah, these two didn't know that.
Yeah.
And they were there at the press conference. They heard it. They didn't know it.
They didn't know it. Oh,
Ryan, changing directions just a little bit. Your fellow heavyweight James Stonier recently came out and said some stuff about Corey Corbin, about Amir Nurdine, like just frustration. What do you think? Do you think he's got a right to be frustrated? Do you think he's as your crown topples off your head? Do you think he's what do you think should be next for him? Do you think he should just kind of sit around and wait? Do you think he's right to be vocal about his frustrations?
I like James a lot. I like Sassy. He's a good dude. It's hard now because our roster is growing, man. There's a lot of people that haven't had a match. We haven't seen Blackburn. We haven't seen Andrew Fields. We haven't seen, Jesse Nutting even still. We haven't seen a ton of people, man. And it's like, I don't know if he can, be upset as he is. I understand it though, because obviously, from the grapevine, I heard Corey Corbin's also fucking gonna be at Power Slap 7 as well, which is crazy. Yeah, but I mean, he has a right to be mad at that. He probably should fight him, but I think a good match for him would be Darius Destroyer. I think Darius versus Stonier would be a great match. Especially for Darius, because Darius, regardless of anything, Darius has a fucking A+ chin, bro. That guy's chin is nuts. So so that's good against Stonier, who's basically power, but that could also help Darius get back into the mix, because he needs something, man. I miss Darius.
Yeah. I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but I don't feel bad for it. I just feel bad about how it went for him in Power Slap. Like, Darius is a legend, bro. Like, it just seems like it never works out for him anytime they have him on a numbered card. And a match where it works out for Darius would be dope, because he deserves the spotlight. That, you know what I mean?
And Sassy has a lot to prove even still. I mean, he beat the Iceland guy, and I mean, he didn't really turn out to be that big of a deal, for lack of a better word. But then he fought Dorian, and Dorian showed, hey, he's on a different level, and Sassy has a lot to prove, and now Darius is in a spot where he has something to prove too. So I think that match would be a great match for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about, I mean, you mentioned a guy like Jesse Nutting, kind of funny story from Power Slap number 6. We were at Palace Station. Jesse Nutting comes up to me right by the cage, and he's like, hey, you think we'll see the Juggernaut back in Power Slap? I go, Jesse, fucking not a chance, buddy.
But I mean,
I ripped his heart out right there at Palace Station. I mean, let's look at it, my man. We've got a place for Jesse Nutting if he wants. We know where that is. Where is it?
I don't know, man.
I'll leave it at that. I won't create some enemies.
No. I mean, honestly, I think so. Jesse is skinny fat, right? So he him being so first he was in heavyweight first when he
Mhm.
first started, and then he dropped down. He got to like 185, and then I think he should go to 170 if he's gonna do anything. I think he should just go to 170 and hang out there because that's his body type. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that would be a good class for him. I think he would have a good chin. He's got a chin. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't deny that Jesse doesn't have a chin. He's too dumb to get knocked out. So, you know, he's like, so hopefully, you know, I would like for him to go there, but you know,
Yeah.
if we see him again, you know, I don't know what they're thinking.
Totally. You know, we're seeing these number card come out. We're seeing between 8 to 12 fights on every card. You know, they seem to do away with the tape fights for Rumble. You know, the rosters are expanding. The guys that are sitting in the lower echelon, you know, your 7 through 10, the guys that might have fallen off the rankings like a Jesse. But I mean, guys, you know, like your Ryan Wallace, your you know, Joseph Landman, your Colton Cole, you know, TJ Thomas, you know, Stevie Ray Payne. Like, what do these guys got to do to get that opportunity to get back on? Like, do we think they're just kind of sitting there filling a spot right now? Or what do they have to do to be able to get that opportunity? Your James Stonier, you know, we see him been trying to get that next fight, you know, try and push forward. Like, what's it going to take for these guys? Or do we kind of think those guys just with the current system, unless they start increasing the volume of events, are going to have a hard time to get back in the spotlight?
Yeah, it's definitely getting harder and harder, and also with the recruitment process, it's
Mhm.
actually getting a lot more stringent. They're not
Mhm.
they're looking for certain people now, and they're looking for certain age groups. So that's another thing to behold. But for these guys, I think my best advice to get a match is just to make as much noise as you can. I think the perfect thing for Sass Billy to do was to get on Slap News and, you know, say, hey man, I really want this. I want to get up there. You know,
Mhm.
how ridiculous he may sound. You know, that was good for him to do. And socials. Frank, the president of Power Slap, is big on your social media. He's, you know, you may not know, but he's checking. You know, he's like Santa Claus. You know, he's checking the list twice, but you know, he's there. So the social media aspect of Power Slap is a big deal. They're I mean, they're not necessarily, you know, trying to create stars, but you can become a star, and you want to push Power Slap more and more, and that's how we get more sponsors and things. That's sort. And the more faces we have too, the more popularity is going to grow. So that's a big deal. But you know, also, you know, another tip, maybe start some beef with someone. You know, start, if you're number 7, start beef with number 8 or number 5 or 6.
Mhm.
You know, start you know, put up a meme of them, cut their face out, put it on elephant, be like, look at this guy, he's out of shape. You know, I mean, just do something. You know, sitting there and not doing anything is not going to help you.
Yeah, make your own chicken coop. That seems to go really well.
There you go, the chicken coop, baby. Gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's one striker that I think could provide immense value, and he just has no idea that he has this market available to him. But all these guys you named, Corey, hit up Amir. Figure out how he's doing it. How he, like, I think Amir's been on the most numbered cards out of anyone on the roster to date, other than maybe Static. And figure out what that guy's doing, because Amir comes back. They call him the comeback kid for a reason, because that dude just keeps coming back. So he must have the secret formula, dude.
Yeah, he just hits up their number every 2 seconds and asks them for a fight. That's what he does.
Wait, just
Yeah.
a disclaimer: Slap News is not promoting that you guys spam, text, and call Frank and Erica. We didn't tell you to do that.
Hey, it's working apparently because the dude keeps coming back. It's crazy, man. We'll see. Do you think he now is that someone? Do you think he's gonna come back? That's 1 in 5, right?
I
Yeah,
I think him and Jesse Nutting fight in a parking lot of Albertsons.
and street beefs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta fight your way into the apex.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
pre-fight. Maybe we should do that. We should do the Slap News fights outside before Power Slap in the parking
You know
lot.
the empty lot between the apex and the PI.
Well,
Oh, desert slap.
there's a serious discussion here though. Like, when
You
is
asked
enough?
a good question.
Yeah, when is enough though? Like, you know, he is really, that his record is 1 in 5, right? It's 1 in 4, 1 in 5. Like,
Yeah.
when are they gonna cut that? Like, when do they say, like, hey, you know, that's too many in a row, or you know, too many.
Are you advocating for Amir to be cut?
Not necessarily, but it
He's
comes to
asking the
What it
question.
sounds like. I'm just saying he's the comeback kid, you know. So I
hey.
think he's always around.
Come back anytime, but I mean, there's got to be a point where they're like, "What's this guy doing?" Like,
Well, who does he fight, right? I mean, that's the
That's
easiest
good.
question to ask. Is like, who do you put him up against now? I mean,
But here's the thing: we're still talking about him, so he's doing something right.
That's what I'm saying, bro. This guy's got the formula. Like I think we need to tap in with him here and see what the fuck he's doing.
well, it's bewilderment because I don't know how he still comes back. It's so crazy. He gets knocked out 2 weeks later. He's back up there getting knocked out again.
we've got Slambo fans in the chat, Comsa fans in the chat. Somebody asking about Zales. What do you want to see Zales?
Zalesh, that guy. Yeah, he's
David,
roids. He'll never be in Power Slap.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Like, as much as we want to see the international competitors come into this, fans need to understand that Power Slap is a regulated sport by the Nevada State Commission and now the California State Commission, and as Dana's saying, 5 or 6 more this year, right? So to your point, Ryan, these guys who are massive and this and that, are they going to be able to hang with the regulations? Like, no shade to Kamza, he's an incredible competitor, but Power Slap was a different animal when he got here.
Yeah, well, I mean that whole issue is very strange to me that he would just up and quit like that. I mean, he actually had a decent match with Ryan, and hey, if that hit took him out, then there's plenty of more of those coming. I mean, think about him versus Vern, because that's probably something that would have been next up, right? So, I don't know, with him. I mean, obviously he passed all the drug tests and everything like that. So Kamsa, for him, I guess it was fine. But for a guy like Zalesh, I don't see. I think we already even blocked him from coming over here because he's just he's very arrogant and he doesn't give a crap what he does. Like he'll just do steroids just to do steroids in your face. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of like that. That bravado. He's got a different bravado to him. Like he's he's a killer. Like he killed some fucking guy. So he killed 2 guys actually. So
wait, is that breaking news? What?
What, that he killed 2 guys?
Yeah, are you fucking around or what are you talking about?
No, Zalesh killed 2 people. Yeah.
Like legally? Like it was his job to do this?
No, slap fighting, bro. Slap fighting.
Oh, slap fighting.
Yeah, he killed Artur and he killed some other guy, I remember.
Yeah, well, they're.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the rules over there were definitely different for sure in the way that they were slapping, 100%. But then he also unpacked it. Was it ever in question that Kamsa was potentially on something? Because I've never heard that until you just brought it up.
That's all Ding. That's not me.
Oh, well, get the fuck! What the? That's jeez.
Listen, no. Listen, I'll play devil's advocate here. If you look at his physique before and his physique now, there's 2 different humans. He was definitely he was holding more mass back in the day, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely slimmed out and he looked really good, but that could be also him taking it seriously, but it could also be him getting off the sauce too. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, not for nothing. Kamsa was a pretty handsome looking fella for what, like, I mean, I would think that facial recovery would fuck something up. Didn't look bad.
It comes back. It just takes a little time.
I mean, listen, you guys aren't the prettiest bunch to start with, so it's all right.
I mean, you can still tell though that there's something there though. If you look at him, you can still tell it's a little bit. You can even tell with me, like if you look at my mustache, like this side's like longer than this side goes down, but this side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you look like you stroked out on the left side. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Dang. Yeah. You look stroked out, Dang.
Yeah, Jesus is the one that strokes you out, bro, not me.
Hey.
I know last time we talked to you, Ryan, right after your fight, we asked you kind of what was next for you, kind of what you wanted. I know it's kind of in the heat of the moment. You probably didn't have a lot of time. Have things kind of settled in? Have you thought more about what's the next steps for you in your career? Do you need a bit of time off? Are you ready to rock and roll again? Like, where are you at with things?
Oh man, so today was a weird day for me. My actual job offered me a new position and I actually had to decline it because I'm actually in I'm in it, bro. I'm so in Power Slap, man. Like, I love it. I don't want anything to come in between me and Power Slap, even though I'm still retaining my job. But I'm not gonna take the additional responsibility because I want to excel in this sport. So, for what's next for me is not nothing really set in stone yet, but that title shot, I think I deserve the title shot. I took out 2 contenders in a row, and I think it's my time. I think me and the Bell, we should go at it. It's something that probably should have happened months ago, but unfortunately with the injury and all. But yeah, I definitely want to fight the Bell when he's ready and take that belt from him. Or like with the timeline, as is, hey, me and Bell coach. I'd like that to happen. Obviously that would be great. I think me and him are both smart, and we've both been in the game for quite some time, so we can pass that along to the new competitors and have a really good season. So I think that's something that is on the cards too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about, I think before you joined on, but I think, with what the show did for Manny and what it did for Chris to put them front and center, we know the Bell hasn't been the most social. He hasn't been the most outgoing. I think the show could be a perfect platform to be able to give him the opportunity, to get there front and center, to raise his stock, for people to get to know him. We know he was an assistant coach. We've seen a bit of him, but we didn't get to see his skill set. He wasn't all that talkative. Really, I don't see, 2 more qualified guys out there right now, being yourself and the Bell, to be able to coach season, 3 for Road to the Title. So I think that would be awesome. The Brass of Power Slap, if you're listening to it, book it. Get the contract in front of these guys, get the hotel, get the flight, make it happen. We want to see these guys. It is Slap News approved to get these guys in as coaches. And would be great to see.
No, and you know what, Corey, to your point, the fans wanted too. Like Drew Bishop in the chat is like, it's a fight for the OGs, and you deserve it more than anybody in the division. So W's in the chat if you guys want to see Ryan and the Bell fucking title fight at possibly 7. Let's run it right away. Why wait?
Hey, I'm game. Let's go. Give me that belt. I want it. It's mine.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Darren Godfrey, we showed a clip of him earlier, actually, from season 1. We've seen some rumbling that he's still working hard, looking to come back. You were able to actually meet, the Ghost in person. We going to get to see him again? What do you think?
Yeah. I can't say anything, but
okay.
Yeah, you're gonna. I know you. I know you're gonna.
That doesn't make it obvious.
That's enough, Ryan. You did. Yeah, you've done your job.
Let's pivot then.
Listen, everyone. Everyone. I just want, first of all, to the fans and everyone that got the call. Thanks for everyone telling me that you got the call. All right, I know the whole season already. Like,
awesome, man. The Power Awards put on by Slap News. You're nominated for an award.
Yeah.
What do it mean to you, my man?
Oh, it's big, man. You guys are the forefront of our sport. I watched the growth, man. You guys are growing. It's not stopping. You're just like me, man. A freight train coming through. Choo choo. No one's stopping you. So, I'm pumped for it. I hope I win because, it would be great for my resume. The Slap News Award winner, Ryan Phillips.
Yeah.
That sounds great to me. So, I hope I win. I'm really looking forward to it. I mentioned it to, everyone that I know. So everyone's been voting, hopefully. And, hopefully we pull out that W, whether it be the biggest upset or the people's choice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, my man. Appreciate you joining us. We know you were in your gitches when you got the call. You showed up professional as always.
We got to charge for that.
What the fuck? Wait, whoa. Before we go, what the fuck are gitches?
Oh, that must be
Is that a Canadian word?
That must be a Canadian thing.
Yeah.
Ryan, have you ever heard of that? I've heard of bitches, not gitches. What the fuck is a gitches?
I thought he said britches, and I was like,
No.
okay.
No, he said
Gitches,
gitches with a G, bro.
Gitches. I've never heard that before.
Like a jock strap. Gitches. Yeah, must be Canadian.
Oh,
thing.
even better. Okay.
Maybe a hockey
That's good
term.
shit.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, much love, guys.
Oh,
Thanks
good.
for having me on,
Thanks, buddy.
man.
Appreciate it.
The show was great, and see each other soon, baby.
Take care, my man.
King out.
Peace. All right, awesome. We're going on here 70 minutes strong. We still got people here, people still tuning in. You guys are awesome. Love you as always. Let's finish up a little bit about the Slap News Awards. I know we talked about a little bit, but not too much. Taking place March 11th. I can tell you it's going to be the most well-produced content piece we've ever put out. We're probably racking up about 120 hours into this piece that we're putting out. We're the only people that are, I don't know, retarded enough to do this. But yeah, we're going in strong. It's going to be quite the production. We're incredibly happy. Voting has finished now, but definitely tune in. What time is the show? I don't even know, Ding. I know you're heading this one up. What time is it?
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific local time in Las Vegas. We're going to be bringing this forefront for you guys to celebrate the first anniversary of Power Slap. We did it on purpose, March 11th of last year, Power Slap #1. We're recapping the year that was Power Slap 1 through 7. We hope you guys show up. Hope you guys can tune in. We'll be in the chat as well. You guys are going to want to make sure that you guys get active in the chat. We're going to be super active in there at the same time. And really hope this is a showcase and a celebration for everybody. As an award show, not everyone can win awards, but we're really here to be able to celebrate, through and through the great moments that we've had. And, for a lot of it seems, for me, I keep saying like the last year has felt like 10 years. When you're in it every single day, trekking it and, doing the grind on the beats, you're there in the DMs, you're on the socials, you're trying to be able to get everything rock and rolling. But yeah, for Vince, once again, it is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on March 11th. The Slap News Power Awards are going to be going down. So we're excited for it. We hope you guys can come out. If you guys can share it, on your socials, let people know. We greatly appreciate it. I'm kind of looking forward. I'm going to put it on both you guys. Where does Slap News go in 2024?
Oof.
Exclusively on Rumble, live and free.
We get that Rumble deal, baby.
We can get a Rumble deal for Smacktalk. Let's go.
Let's go. Nah, man. Like Corey, we've told this story to strikers in the past. This started as a phone call. All you did was call me, and you said the simple words of, "Have you seen the slap fight thing, bro?" And the way our sick minds work, look where we're at now. You get what I'm saying? And I believe the answer to your question is our potential is untapped. There is no ceiling on this thing. We're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Power Slap doesn't seem like they have any plans of quitting. So that we'll definitely have a sport to cover at the very least, or we're going to be sitting around slapping each other, but we're not going anywhere is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I mean, it's 800 million plus. Company. They're not going anywhere soon. But I do want to address something in there. Wolverine should be there for Chin of the Year. You know what? There should be 5 other people in there for Chin of the Year for the amount of chins that we've had. We probably didn't do ourselves, a service to narrow it down to 5. Very easily, we could have expanded these to 6, 7. Maybe next year we go to 10. I mean, honestly, it's the first year we're doing it. I'm not saying we got everything 100% right. We tried our best. We got in here, we shortlisted it, we worked it down, we worked it again. We tried to give, the representation that we could to try to put forth, the best options that we can. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the fans are the ones that are voting on these awards. It's not me. It's not Ding. It's not Big G's. It's the fans have spoken for who they want to have. We had over 10,000 votes placed for this award show. I'm not sure if we've made that public knowledge or not, but I mean, you guys showed up, blew my expectations away as to the amount of votes that were going to come in to be able to support the slap fighters along the way. It's going to be a great celebration. March 11th, it's going to go down. It's coming up. I mean, what are we at now? We're at the 5th. So we're 6 days out right now. So,
and you know what, aside from the categories and the nominees and then the 6 or 7 winners that we're going to have, this is a celebration for everybody. We made it a year, not just Slap News, all the strikers back at Power Slap 1. A lot of people didn't know what it was going to look like. And here we are a whole year later, completely different individuals from when we started. Strikers have really come into their own. So March 11th is not just about celebrating the winners, because obviously that's what we're there to do, but we're here to celebrate everything that surrounds Power Slap and Slap News. And it's been a big year. So it's going to be a night of celebration all around for everybody.
Yeah. Awesome, boys. We're starting to get stale here. We're getting down let's keep on rocking. Let's sign off. We appreciate you all. If you're not doing so, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're coming back every single week. We're going to be here 3 p.m. on the Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. Bring you Slap Talk. Keep it real, guys. Until next time.